Hey guys, in this segment we're going to make a cute little robot character which could be imported into our game. Let's get started. First thing I want to do is click my default cube, hit M. Let's go ahead and add that to a new collection which we'll name as robot. Now with that done, we can easily hide our light and our camera until we need them without having to delete and re-add. For our default cube, let's go ahead and hit 1 on the numpad. If you don't have a numpad, you can easily use the gizmo and just snap to the -Y. Let's go ahead and tab into edit mode. Hit Control R to add a loop cut. Look for that yellow line. Click the left mouse once and then bring that down about 2/3. Then lock that into place. Now hit 3 on the keyboard for face select. Alternatively, you can also toggle on the select mode for face up here. And now let's select the top face and scale that out just a touch. And then for the bottom one, we're going to grab the bottom and then scale that down a touch. Tab out of edit mode, hit Control 3 for a subdivision surface. You can see that by going to the wrench here. And also, let's go ahead, right click and shade smooth. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this with Shift and D. Move that up on the Z axis. Press S to scale and let's bring that down a bit. Now let's press S and X. We want to make it a little bit wider. And then G and Z, let's move that down some. Press Shift and A, let's add a mesh UV sphere. S to scale that down. GZ to bring that up. This will be our robot neck connection. Right click, shade smooth. And I kind of want to see what this looks like as I go, so I'm going to come up here and switch to Viewport Material Preview. Let's go ahead and add our first material. Click here on the material properties and then click New. We want to name this as Robot. And I want another material, which we'll call Metallic. For the metallic, that one's going to be fairly easy. Let's come here to the base color, bring it down a touch. We just want to make it a bit of a silverish color. And then for the metallic, let's go ahead and bring that up. And that's typically going to be an all or nothing. So if I zoom in, you can see it's starting to look metallic, but I also want to make it a bit shiny. So I'm going to bring the roughness way down. Right, so that looks pretty good to me. Now let's go ahead and work on the material for the robot. So for this one, let's drop this down. We're going to grab this robot material. For the color, we can maybe make it a little off-white, something like that. And then I don't want it to be metallic, but I do want to bring the roughness way down because I want to make it shiny. So actually, I'm going to bring that all the way down. Now for this one up here, let's go ahead and just add that robot material. So now you can see it's starting to come along already, looking like a shiny robot from the factory. I want to grab my UV sphere here, and let's duplicate this. I'm going to do a copy and not a linked duplicate because I plan on changing quite a bit, so it's not going to work as a link duplicate, but I'm going to hit Shift and D and then hit X to bring that over on the X. Now we can hit GZ to bring that down, and that's going to be my shoulder connector. Coming back to the modifier properties, let's click on mirror. We want to mirror that, and the object is going to be mirrored based on the body position. Now that we have that, I'm going to press S and X. I want to bring that in quite a bit and then just rotate as well. So something in that neighborhood. Maybe a little more. Some of this is going to be personal preference. All right, so I'm going to again duplicate this and I want to bring it down on the Z. I'm going to rotate this on the Y, and then G X to move that over. These are going to be our leg connectors. GZ, bring those up until we have a good connection. And we can also scale those up quite a bit. So before we do too much on the body, I do want to bring the torso up a bit. I'm going to press S and Z to bring this in quite a bit. Maybe something like that. GZ, bring that back up, and then now we can GZ, bring these back up. Okay, so our robot is coming along. I'm going to bring these up. I want to have little ears, so Shift and D to duplicate those, Z just to bring those all the way up, and G and X to bring those in. I'm going to press Alt and R, and then scale these down. Now let's work on the eyes. Shift and D, and bring that up on the Z axis. G, Y, bring that out quite a bit. G, X. I do want large eyes, but not quite that large. Bring them down just a little bit, and then I want to add a mirror modifier, and the mirror object in this would be the head. Just put those eyes where you want them. Let's tab into edit mode. RX90, let's just bring that around, hit 1 for vertice select, and grab that center vertice. Now hit O for proportional editing. You notice that this toggles on. G and Y, notice the area of influence for this one. Scroll the mouse wheel up to bring that in, and what I want to make is a nice little eye socket. So somewhere in that range. And for this, let's go ahead and focus on that for a second. Tab back into edit mode. Here I just want to hit Control plus a few times. Go back one more. I just want to make sure that we have connection before I delete the vertices. So X and delete those vertices. That'll save us a little bit on the poly count. And then / to bring that back in. Let's come to the neck connector one more time. Press Shift and D, and then Z to bring that up on the Z axis. And then G and Y, let's just bring this out a bit. Now I want to focus on the eye. Tab into edit mode. / to focus on that, and 1 for vertice select. If it's not already selected, let's grab this center vertice. We're going to hit Shift and S. We want to snap the cursor to selected. Now we can hit / focus on that again, tab out of edit mode. Now select this sphere, and we're going to hit Shift and S again, and we want to snap the selection to the cursor. We want to press S to scale, and then you can hold Shift while you're scaling that down. Once you're happy with that, click the mouse to let that go, and that gives us a nice quick way to center that eye in the eye socket. Personal preference, how you want the eyes to look. I don't want the eyes to be a metallic color in mine, so I'm going to come to the material, add a new material, which I'm going to name eye, and now give that a different look, maybe something in the green range. I'm going to bring that up, something like that. Because we duplicated the metallic, we have to bring that metallic down. Also, I want to grab this hex value, come down to emission because I want my eyes to glow. Just tweak those as you see fit. So I'm going to scale mine a bit more. Tab into edit mode, RX90, bring that front vertice around, just makes it a little bit easier to work with. Now I'm going to grab that front vertice with proportional editing still on. Notice the blue there, GY, and just kind of bring that back a little bit. Increase my area of influence. I want mine to be something like that. So I'm going to hit Control plus a couple more times and hit O to turn off proportional editing. Hit E, come out slightly. Hit E again. And then scale that down, and maybe E one more time, and scale that down. With all of that still selected, hit Control plus 2 times until you have all of that, and then I just want to add a new material here and give that the metallic, and then click Assign. So I do want to mirror my eye here. Come to the modifier properties, add a mirror modifier, and use the eyedropper to select the head. So now we have a very quick set of eyes for our robot. Let's go back into the eyes for a moment. Tab / the focus on the eyes themselves. 1 for vertices select. Press Ctrl+ a few times, and then / to come back out. And now you can press the Ctrl+ until you can see a vertice. / to focus on that. X, dissolve the vertices, and that just frees up some topology. And then / to get back out of that. Shift and D, then Z to duplicate that up on the Z axis. Come out here a little bit just for more control. Scale that down, GZ, bring that down here. I want one more duplicate of this, so Shift D and Z, S and Z. I really kind of want to flatten that out quite a bit. GZ, make sure that has good connection. Tab into edit mode, grab that front vertice, and then just grab 2 of them. Let's extrude those up a bit and then scale that in, and then extrude more until we have a good connection. Scale this, S to scale this down some more, GZ, make sure we have good connection on those. And then if they're too large, we can scale both together and then GZ. All right, so that looks good. It's kind of cute for the top of the head. With this smaller one, I'm just going to duplicate that. And I'm doing duplicates, not link duplicates, because I keep changing things about the object, which in order to apply the transformations, you have to break the link duplicate anyway. So GY on this, bring this out. It's going to be a cute little nose, GZ. Scale that down quite a bit. You can have a small nose. And then let's zoom in, make sure we have good connectivity, GZ and GY. And for this one, I'm going to duplicate this again on the Z. And now we can do some link duplicates, so Alt and Z. And on the X, GZ, bring that up some. And then Alt Z on this one and X to bring that over. So he has a cute little smile and a cute little nose. Maybe one more, I don't know. Personal preference on these. We can bring all of these down some, GZ, make a little extra space, and then Alt Z on this one, X, and GZ on that, and then Alt Z and X. Just really seal in that smile there. Now if we zoom in, we see that we don't really have good connectivity for any of these. So let's grab all of them and GY, bring those back until they're all connected. GZ, bring that up a little more, maybe S, scale it down. There you go. So he's got a cute little nose. And I do want one more link duplicate, Alt Z, Z, bring this straight down, GY, bring that out, GY, give him a couple little buttons, Alt Z, Z on that, and something like that. Press Shift and A, let's add a mesh cube, and then S to scale that way down, G and X to bring this over, and then GZ just to bring this up. Control 2 for a quick subdivision surface, SX to bring this out, and then GX just to bring it out a little bit more. Tab into edit mode, let's add 3 loop cut, Control and R, and then roll that mouse until you have 3 lines there. / to focus on this for a second, and then let's select the first ring. If you have proportional editing on, hit O to turn that off. GG, and then let's move this down. Grab this one, and then GG to move this down. Tab out of edit mode, right click shade smooth, and let's add the material for the robot. Now we can / and see what that looks like. So this is longer than I actually want, so I'm going to SX and bring that back in, something like that, GX, and then I want to press 2 for edge select, and then Alt, and now I want proportional editing back on, so hit O, and then just bring this center up a little bit. Something like that. Let's press Control and R, and then right click to leave that where it was. Control and R on this side, Enter or right click, and then Shift and Alt. Let's grab both of those. Proportional editing is still on. Let's scale these down a little bit. Something like that. So I just want like a little bump in the center there. Like a little bicep maybe. Let's grab this one. Maybe have the upper arm a little bigger. Something like that. Okay. And then I'm going to duplicate the neck connector again. So Shift D and then X. And then I'm going to scale this way down. GZ just to bring this over. 7 so I can see a little better. And then GX just to bring this in so I have good connection. Now I'm going to duplicate this one. So Shift and D, Enter, RZ90, and then GX and GY. So something like that. Now I'm going to duplicate this again. We can use that 7 so we can line it up. Alt-D for a link duplicate here, and then GY just to bring that out. Select this one, press Shift and S, cursor to selection, and then Shift A, let's add a mesh, cube, and then S to scale that way down, something like that, and then G and Y to bring this out, S and Z to bring that up, something like that. Tab into edit mode. Press 3 to select that front face, G and Y to pull it out a little bit, and then G and Y again to move it back a little bit, making sure that you have good connectivity. Tab back into edit mode. Control R for a loop cut, and I actually want 3 here. Enter, leave those where they are. 2 for edge select, Alt, and then G, Z, and bring that up. So we just want what looks like a hook. Right click shade smooth, and also let's add that robot material. And now we have the top hook that we need. So let's go ahead and we want to Shift D to duplicate that, and then RY180 to bring that around so it completes the hook for the hand. I was going to zoom in on this for a second. I want to focus here. I want to come to the backside, tab, and then I want to press Shift and bring the cursor there, and then I want to tab out, go to the object dropdown, and then set the origin to the origin of the 3D cursor. So now when we hit /, if I hit R and X, that enables me to move that hook. So we can do the same thing on this one, /, set that 3D cursor, and then object, set the origin to the 3D cursor, /, and then RX, and just pull that down some. We already know that we have the mirror modifier on the shoulder connector. Let's go ahead and select the elbow, the wrist, and the 2 hooks. And then let's grab that shoulder last. So the objects that we want to copy to will be a darker orange, and the object that we want to copy from is a lighter orange. Now let's press Control L, copy modifiers, and we see that those come through nicely. The upper arm and the lower arm have a subdivision surface, so those wouldn't have copied correctly. What I'm going to do is for the upper arm, I'm going to go ahead and add the mirror modifier, selecting the body as the target, and now I'm going to select the forearm, Shift and select the upper arm, Control L, copy modifiers, and you see that now we have the complete arm on both sides. Working on some quick legs here, let's go ahead and click the leg connector, Shift and S, cursor to selected, and then Shift and A, let's add a mesh cube, S to scale that down. Now S and Shift Z to scale on everything except for the Z. Control 2 for a quick subdivision surface. GZ to pull that down. Tab into edit mode. Control R for a loop cut, and I want 5 cuts. Enter to leave those as default. Tab. I want to press S and then Shift and Z again to scale this down quite a bit. Something like that. Tab back into edit mode. 2 for edge select, grab this center edge, and then scale this up with proportional editing still on. Tab back out of edit mode, and right-click, shade smooth, and add the robot material. Now I'm going to grab the neck connector again, Shift and D, Z to bring this down. Tap back into edit mode, 3 for face select, grab that bottom face, Shift and S, cursor to selected, just to snap that 3D cursor to the bottom, and then we can scale this, and then press Shift and S, selection to cursor, just to quickly center that up. Now what I want to do is press Shift and A while the cursor is still there, add a mesh cube, S to scale that way down, and then G, Y to bring this up, S, Z to scale this way down, Control 2 to add a quick subdivision surface, tab into edit mode, Control R, I want to loop cut in that center portion, 3 for face select, and let's focus on this with / for a moment. We can use / to get back out, and now I just want to focus here. Proportional editing is still on, and I want to scale this way down so that it is connected inside the foot. Tab back out of edit mode with a good view of the bottom, GZ, bring that down, and then you could also bring the foot out a little bit more, GY, just to bring that out. It's personal preference on this. Control R, add a loop cut in the center, and I'm just going to bring this way down. Control R for one more loop cut in the center here, leave that where it is, 2 for edge select, and then just grab that top edge and GZ to bring that up a little bit. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this edge, only I want to go down with it. So something like that. Tab out of edit mode, and then right-click shade smooth, and let's add that robot material to the foot. GY to pull this back, and I want it to come to the back of the foot like that. I'm just making a couple of minor tweaks to the leg, just scaling and resizing to make sure that it's in line with the rest of the robot body. Pause the video, make some edits of your own, and I'll meet you back here in a second. The foot and the leg have a subdivision surface, so what we can do is, with the upper leg selected, let's add the mirror modifier. We're going to use the eyedropper, select the body, and then select the foot, shift select the leg, and Control L, copy that modifier. For this one, we can just add the mirror modifier and select the body. So now you have a complete robot that you can import into your game. I hope this helps, and we'll see you next time.